All right. So we are officially live. We haven't been live since before BabsCon. And how many weeks was that?
That was like 3 months ago.
Wait,
So 3 months
Yeah, as of
ago.
now, 3 months. Yeah.
Wow. That's a bit crazy. 3 months already. Jesus. So I guess before we get into the topic of BabsCon, let's talk about something a little recent. The mid-season finale. Who's seen it and who hasn't?
I have not.
You have not. Well, we'll try not to spoil too much, but let's ask for thoughts about it. What are you guys' thoughts on it? I mean, so far of this season. What do you think?
I've been keeping up week to week. It's been a wild 8, I guess.
Okay.
It's really difficult to spoiler alerts that everybody's heard of, so I don't know really where to go from there.
Yeah. Gary, or Garibalde, or whatever you want to call yourself, because you don't use your OC name. What are your thoughts?
It is my OC name.
It is?
I liked it. The mid-season finale. I liked it. I just want to see what happens. I want to see what I want to see more Chrysalis. Come on. How many of you guys like Chrysalis? Come on, tell me.
She's a bug. She hasn't been swatted yet. She'll be back.
This is true. Also, this isn't the first time we've been in a pony situation that we don't know what's going to happen next.
Now,
I'll tell you something about Chrysalis.
Okay.
She's a loser. A loser.
For now.
Yeah. Just think about it. Just think.
Now, I've heard some rumors. I'm not sure if they're true or not, but apparently somebody said that we may see T-Rex again. Have you guys heard anything about this?
I heard about it, but in the manner that a lot of people shouldn't have heard about it, unfortunately. I'm saying nothing other than it sounds dangerous.
Ooh, danger.
But that's what these ponies are used to, so yeah.
Yeah. So
No, it's lies. It's all lies. It's a throne of lies. He's not coming back. He's not coming back. I think he's gonna come back. It was a one-time thing for season 4 when he showed up. That was a really cool thing. If he does come back, I would say it'd be maybe the movie.
A one time? No, that's not a one time. We need some.
If he does come back, it might be for the movie. I don't know. He might come back. I don't know, but I think it would be a one-time thing for T-Rex.
Okay.
That's just.
It seems Mecha Flyer seemed to have stepped out for a second and should be back soon. Gary, how about I leave you for the next topic, because I'm feeling a little thirsty actually.
Okay, let me see. Okay, how about this? I would always do this with to start off the.
Make sure you're holding down the button.
I hear crickets.
Cricket.
All right, let me take a stab at this then.
You me?
Gary,
Oh.
1 inch gauge or 1 foot? Or I should say scale.
Uh, 1 inch.
And why?
You can ride on it. It's small. You can take it anywhere. You can put it in your backyard. Okay. Your own empire, your live stream empire, your own model. Yes, you can say model railroad, but at 1 inch, it's just so convenient that you could put it almost. Yeah, you can even put it into a house. Yeah, I say 1 inch, unless you want to go 7.5 inch, and then if you go 7.5 inch, you can get even more people, and then you can build the MLP train in 7.5 inch, and then if you go maybe 7.25 inch, you get the Lily Bell, and now it's starting monologue and do something I don't even know what I'm talking about now. And somebody please go on to the next topic, because now I'm just going to keep rambling on and blah blah blah, like I said last time, something about like that, and just say something. Somebody just say something so I can stop talking.
All right, how about which one's your favorite? And it looks like we have Mecha back, but he's on mute right now. Just give it a second, ladies and germs, and we should have our fourth back in it.
I'm back. A little bit of technical difficulties on my end.
I'm back as well. I had to run all the way to the dining car. I finally got my drink.
Sorry, but that is... I'm so sorry, but that is not the correct answer, ladies and gentlemen. You lose the $1 million jackpot. You're fired. You're fired. That's it for tonight, everybody. Thank you for participating. This has been the Parlor Club Podcast. Good night, everybody.
Anyway, okay, so
missed what?
Don't worry, you didn't miss much. You didn't miss much.
Sounds like drunk hour is starting early.
No, not yet. Anyway, so we have some photos that were actually submitted by Gary here. So why don't we put those up?
I gotta get the live stream on my phone so I can see photos are going up.
All right, please give it 1 second. All right, that should be one popping up right now.
Yep, looks like we have that 1 inch steamer, the live steamer.
That one was. That's these pictures on today down to LS. That picture you see right there is a Bob's Cone Gauge 1 Rio Grande on the Gauge 1 layout. He was running his Gauge 1 today. He was doing some reballasting of the track because they were getting the leaf blower and getting all the leaves and sticks between the ties, so the actually putting ballast in between the ties of the track. So he was doing that today to run his Rio Grande on the layout. Next.
So is that technically narrow gauge in scale, or is it full gauge in scale that he's running there?
Gauge. The layout is actually narrow gauge track, so the ties are farther apart from each other. Standard gauge, the ties are closer together. Line in that picture right there, they have the one of the guys brought his Super Chief F and B units down. Oh boy, those things are loud. They are loud.
what kind of engines those things usually use. Oh,
He
and
was going
sorry,
around out there.
I think
Yeah,
they use
sorry
like a
to-
lawnmower.
sorry to keep popping in, Gary. I don't know if it's my end or what, but you keep breaking in and out.
It's more his end. But
And it's kind
He sounds like he's in the Matrix.
of electric.
he is in the Matrix.
So it wasn't just me who's hearing and seeing things.
No.
Yeah.
No. We are in the void right now. This is Bizarro world. No. Most of those big 7.5 inchers usually have lawnmower engines in them. Sometimes they'll just have straight batteries, and they'll be battery operated. I actually had a really cool.
He has the battery one.
Yeah, I actually had a really cool envision for using a. It's gonna be crazy, and some people would want to hit me for it, but I wanted to use a 1960s inline six-cylinder on a 7.5 inch gauge locomotive.
I wouldn't be pissed at you as much as wondering how you would be going about trying to pull that off. That's a big engine in a small chassis.
It is, but I would find a way.
It'd have to somehow stay within the confines of
It's not-
7.5 inch gauge, which I think the engine itself is wider than that, way wider.
Ever so slightly. It goes about as wide as your knees when you ride a 7.5 inch.
Yeah, but it weighs a lot more than your knees.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow, look at that view from it. That side shot's amazing.
Which one?
So that's 3 units. Okay. That's the A, B, and A. No, yeah, right? A, B, and A, or is it A, B, and C?
Yep.
Okay, A, B, and A.
It would be ABA, yeah. The cabs are always considered A
Is-
units.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, I would imagine
Units.
because because of the size of those runs, usually I'd imagine there's certain speed limits, but given enough space, how fast do you think one of those things would actually get up to? I've never been to one of these events, so I wouldn't be able to be the one to say.
I think the last time I was riding on one, I think we got up to, I believe, about 10 or maybe a little over 10 miles an hour.
So yard speeds.
I know the answer. I know the answer to this.
Oh.
Gone on that track is 14 miles an hour. The speedometer, whatever. But I went 14 miles an hour. Not seem fast, but when you're on a track that's only inches wide, sitting on a flat car, that's pretty fast, and your hair is blowing back. That is literally sitting on a rail. Butt cheeks while you're doing it.
Oh, how about this one?
Yeah, passenger cars too.
Looks like those are non-rideable. They're more for display.
It looks like it.
They are.
And is that
He had a little. That belongs to Josh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a Baba Caboose, and then I think he has eight of them that he ran today. Sure. They're all the Santa Fe Super Chief ones.
Wow.
Have all the observation I haven't seen those in the 1-inch gauge. Could ride on these if you wanted to. I wouldn't suggest it.
Those
They're
are
made of
pretty
actual.
nice.
They're made of actual steel or aluminum.
Actual aluminum. So steel, everything. Nothing's plastic on this. Only thing I can think that would be plastic is maybe
the windows.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's glass. The inside you can't see from the picture, but it actually has a chairs inside the train car.
So that's more of a it is more of
detail.
a visuals sort of thing than a ride-on.
It's yeah. I love it.
How about this little guy right here?
Really jealous, but that needs. Oh yeah, Josh. His steam engine today. He went. I think on the. I think maybe the 5th lap around the track. He lost a bolt on the side of his steam engine on the side rod.
Ow.
And we were all helping him out, trying to get a new one.
Oh, wow.
It ran really good. He was working on it. It ran really nice. That thing can really pull 4 bench cars on his caboose.
And it looks like it's only an
Find a generator on it, so
it looks like an 040, yeah.
It's a coal burner. It's a Welsh coal. What's to find nowadays?
Yep.
Okay, so let me see here. All right, so let's talk about BabsCon, but before that, my manners were a little bit off in the beginning of this. I forgot to do introductions, so let's do an introduction real quick.
23 minutes in.
I know. So
that's typical.
So obviously everybody knows me, Steam Tank. You got Mecha Flyer. You got Garibalde, and we have our special co-host. Ace.
Special is putting it mildly, but thank you.
So yes, we have our one and only Ace Brick. So
the resource from the East Coast.
Oh yes. In fact, if anyone's going to BronyCon, he will be there.
Most likely you'll see a black cowboy hat with the chain on top. Try and find me, and I'm handing out Railroad Bronies cards.
Yeah, he'll be the only badass guy there. Handing out RB cards.
Badass is perspective.
Perspective.
Okay.
Depending on how much I change in appearance, it'll either be a badass or a gentleman. I don't know. We'll play it out.
I think the badass suits you well.
Well, and eventually when you see what I end up being, like, if you get a hold of Peter, who's also at BabsCon, I'll get a picture and I'll have something to rival that ridiculous mustache that he had. My God, the fact that was natural.
Oh, yeah. So, with that said, going to BabsCon, so what were your thoughts on this year's BabsCon? How did you like it? And what did you think about us going there and doing what we did with a layout?
Well, I'll be honest, if you mean me, right?
Yeah.
All right. When I first found the Railroad Bronies Twitter, way back when I had just started in on Twitter, I saw it and I thought, that's pretty cool. Click follow. Never really thought much of it as time went on. Then in December, when I did the whole Polar Express run with Garibalde, curse you time zones, it started to kind of tie more and more. And official announcement, Railroad Bronies were coming to BabsCon. I've been to BabsCon every year. It's always a blast, and every year it becomes more and more fun. To have you guys there this year, like, I know I had brought a ton of stuff along, and I was thinking, oh man, I'm going to really wow them. I've got almost $2,000 worth of trains, track, and transformers to run everything with. I walk into the panel room, and you've got every gauge under the sun set up on the table. My face just dropped. Like, damn, I don't have anything. But after that, going through the whole panel and then hearing, hey, stop by the room party, and I felt like some sort of, I think it was Spiral who said, walking in with the suitcase, I looked like some kind of drug dealer. You got the trains? I got the trains. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh man.
That was
Nan.
great.
Nan said that. I remember she said, who are you? Yeah, you. Oh, man.
But yeah, from there, and it was just hanging out from there. That was also the night that I got the first chance to really sit out the Pretty Lady 5516. It's always nice to get that locomotive out when she is working. But between that, I remember seeing the announcement that, oh yeah, they're going to have a space for a layout. And I'm like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. And that's what prompted me. Originally, I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll just get something to bring along. When I saw that, oh yeah, layout setup, I loaded up everything I possibly could. I still can't believe I got everything out to the West Coast in the way I did, and nothing broke in transit.
Yeah, I was kind of impressed on how you were able to bring all that from so far. That was incredible, actually.
I got so lucky in what I was able to pull off, and I'll be completely honest, up to a couple weeks ago, some of it was still stowed away in the suitcases, but at least it wasn't going to get broken with how everything was all packed nicely. But yeah, I mean, between that night hanging out at the bar and then the next day, which 2 years in a row now, I'll be straight in saying I've gotten a slightly higher tier pass at BabsCon, so I could get to a few things. For 2 years in a row now, I have made absolutely no use of the VIP meet and greet. Last year, I just sat at the entrance talking with BabsCon staff the whole time about random stuff as I'm watching Tara Strong and the other VIPs just kind of funnel past, just a little nod of, hey, how's it going? And this year, I think the only reason I left the layout that was running was to get some autographs, and that was it. The whole VIP thing going on, I passed by at one point to go try and get a hold of Bill Newton and say, hey, come on over. Because while I was getting his autograph, I swear I was talking with him for half an hour about everything under the sun, one of which was Bill Newton is a fan of model railroading. So if somebody can reach out to him and say, hey, if we can get back next year, it'd be cool to have him sit around.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I swear, I set the train card that I had brought along to get signed. I set it on the table. He instantly recognized what it was. Oh, yeah, I used to have these. I had them up in the attic of my mom's house, and she wanted to get rid of them, his mother or grandmother or something. But he kept a hold of them. And from there, we bounced around from topic to topic. But the whole time, his assistant is just sitting there on his phone like, yeah, I guess this guy's got it, whatever. Nobody was there. So he and I just kept talking and talking. It was the coolest thing in the world. And when I passed by him over at the VIP booth for the meet and greet, I happened to catch him. I was like, hey, we got him running right now. And I swear the look in his face is, oh no, I want to go and see him so bad, but I'm stuck up here. Like, oh, come on, don't give me that. You can leave that whenever you want.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
it said that, yeah, he walked by the layout a couple times, and each time he had that look of, wow, they've really got something. I want to swing by still. Like, God bless him, and I really do hope he can swing by again next year because he was a blast to have, to meet and talk with.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to him as well. So hopefully
Yeah, it
he
sounds
goes
exciting.
next year.
Yeah.
I still say if you're going to try and get a hold of somebody, though,
man.
you need to get a hold of Andrea Lippman, because when I went to have her sign the car at first, she's like, oh, what's that? It's a train car. Oh, you guys collect them? Like the really, really big ones? No, not all of us. That's a very, very rare treat.
I
No,
wish.
these are just the small ones. She's like, oh, never seen that. If you want to swing by the table, okay. But she was thinking, oh, you're fans of railroading, so you must all own those gigantic ones, right? No, not all of us.
Oh, we wish.
Believe me, I wish.
I don't have
Wait,
several $100,000 to spend on actual trains.
I have a solution for you, and this I was looking into at home. I need storage space at home, and I can get it. The tricky part's going to be setting up the infrastructure for it. You need to get the ground leveled out, track, ballast, the rails, everything. But you can buy, rough condition, but you can buy pre-owned boxcars for starting from like $5,000.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's true. I've actually seen cabooses going for 10 to 12.
And at first I was thinking, yeah, I could use a boxcar for storage space. And then it hit me, a train layout in a train. Yes. So those things are easily, what, like 10 foot wide, I think? 10, 12 foot wide? So that's plenty of space
About
to set up a layout.
10 feet, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I could pull that, like, dude, that would be the ultimate thing. Obviously, they're not roadworthy at that point if they're being sold, or at least I presume not. But having something like that
Some of them
going
are.
around.
Some of them are roadworthy. They've just been sort of outdated and they've been discontinued, or you know what I mean, from their respective railroads.
Yeah, usually the ones I've seen are from the 60s, 70s, so they've seen a few million
Decommissioned,
miles.
that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, so capable of being refurbished and reused, but new ones are built, so yeah,
Some
we
of
don't
them
need
are
those.
still actually runnable. They're perfectly railroad legal. They're just not really, they've been outused and they've been obsolete.
Yeah, the ones that are on the lower end of the price spectrum are in really rough shape. You can get some aluminum side ones, but they're in the higher $9,000 to $10,000 range.
You just
I don't
have to
know,
be careful about
long-term
the
pipe
ones with the
dream.
rotted out floorboards. Step inside and you fall through to the ground.
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
those.
Yeah, at that point, if I was going to go for something that
Really?
nice, I'd probably look into a caboose. That way you could do a little more with the interior and make sure everything's sound and clean.
A bunch of buy a
Cabooses.
bunch of cabooses and make your whatever. Buy a bunch of cabooses and make your own little commune.
Commune of cabooses.
So here's one thing that I completely found like shocking and awesome while up in San Francisco and while at BabsCon. Like literally like maybe like obviously a 30-minute walk, but maybe a 5-minute drive down the road, you got one of the Caltrain and one of the Caltrain stations down the street. And just down the line, several stops away, and there's like completely preserved Southern Pacific depots along the entire route. And each one is a museum open on their own specific dates. And
well, we did find 2 of them. There's one, forgot the name of the town, and there's another one actually in Burlingame.
Yeah, and I thought that was incredible. I mean, like, here we are, the Railroad Bronies, first time ever at BabsCon, and we have this gem, like, not that far away. to my surprise, on the day we did the layout, which was Saturday, one of those depots were actually open. So I'm thinking maybe next year I might plan a small meetup where we go to one of them.
Like schedule an extra day before or after BabsCon itself, sort of thing.
Either before or even during, even. I mean,
The only thing you got to be careful of is mind that Sunday is typically Easter Sunday.
Well, yeah, BabsCon has a bad habit of doing that.
Yeah, that's Sunday and all that, because not a lot.
Well, that's like Anime Expo straddling July 4th. This year they're not doing it, but normally they do.
Then BabsCon next year is not having it on. They're having it on April 19th through April 21st.
Ooh, so that
no, I thought it was towards the beginning or the end of March. Let me double check opening. Oh, yeah, they are bumping it deeper into April again, finally, just like the first year.
That should make things a little interesting and a little more accessible.
Yeah. Another thing I wish Nan could have pulled through for us was not planning our community guest get-together during the same get-together for John Delancey.
Well, actually, what happened there was our meet and greet was going on while Delancey was reading poetry. And who the hell wants to miss Delancey reading poetry? That's just,
Yeah.
I'll be straight and honest. Yeah, it was nice to have John Delancey there, but the extra cost associated was definitely a little bit of a turn away. I get the feeling, though, that I think other than one or two people, it was pretty much Railroad Bronies at the community guest private room thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a fact that there was a ton of other Rail Bronies there. Like, for starts, Lyoko Travels, he was there. But somehow he did put his name on the list, but never really found his way to the room.
Yeah, that was another problem, is they did not mark out where the room was. I was already late and trying to get going, but for half an hour I was running all throughout that entire floor trying to find where it was. I was looking at the map and the con book and everything. I still couldn't figure it out. So eventually, as you saw, I got down to the end of the hall, saw the sign kind of propping the door open. Knock, knock, knock. Hey, is this a place for the Railroad Bronies? Yeah, come on in. Oh, shit. Should have told me that. Language gonna be a problem here?
No. Just keep it PG-13 at least.
All right, so only one F-bomb.
Yeah, one F-bomb's okay if it slips out, but, just be careful.
Yeah.
All right, easy enough.
But yeah. I just wish that would have been a little bit better, because I do know that there were a lot of people who really would have probably wanted to sit and chat with us even longer than just having us being out there running trains the whole time. Because when we're running trains out there, it's not like we could just go walk around with the person and like that. I mean, it's kind of like we got to watch over our stuff, otherwise we got to leave somebody behind to watch over it, which isn't very what's the word?
And somebody has to watch the control stations and the controllers and all that. So, making sure nothing's derailing or colliding with something else, or a switch doesn't go in the wrong direction.
Or
there's a lot of work around it.
Or applying too much power on a curve and the train goes flying into somebody's special talent. But yeah, like yours.
Yeah, dark side now.
Well, actually,
that's a story for another channel.
Yeah. But speaking of the Dark Side Nut Crusher, I don't know if anybody really noticed this when I brought it, but if you look at the old videos, you'll see that the front pilot is actually different now than what it was before. It used to have step plates on the front,
And now you put a pillow on it.
No, I've long since taken them off, so there's no plates on the front now. Reason why is the other one broke off.
So now it's a straight up meat pounding hammer.
Yeah, it's just like no extra protection. It'll just go boom right through. But yeah, so it has no foot plates on the front now. Now it's just a forward moving locomotive. In fact, I actually have some mechanical issues with it going in reverse. If it goes in reverse too long, you'll actually tend to make a grinding noise. So I actually have to take it apart and take a look at it. I think there's hair within the gearing, which is a common thing amongst O-scale. But aside from that, it ran pretty good. And the
Aegis Master Race.
that boxcar that we had made and donated, that was a treat. I kind of wish I had some better photos of it. Sadly, a lot of them came out pretty blurry. And I know a lot of people have been wondering, hey, where's the BabsCon footage? Where's the footage? Where's the layout footage? Well, there is footage, but it's a lot blurry. It didn't come out well. So I'll be uploading it to the drive, our Google Drive, pretty soon, so it can be done, but it's not that great.
Yeah, it seems like some of the best footage was actually done by AC Race Best. If you check out his BabsCon channel on Saturday, it lasts all of about a minute where he does a quick pan over of the layout, specifically my train when that was running. So my pretty lady is actually more famous than anything else you will see there. Oh yeah. I have replayed that few seconds over and over and over again because I am so full of myself around the pretty lady. Yeah. But yeah, you got a pretty good overview along with getting free LENINADE from Alex. So, I mean, anything's better than nothing.
Yeah. I still don't know who won the case of LENINADE that went into auction, but whoever did, I hope they enjoyed it. It was a real pain putting that crate together. So yeah, I hope that person enjoys that crate and brings them a lot of joy at parties.
That's what's going to be tricky for me, is if I can get a hold of some LENINADE for BronyCon, how in the world am I going to get that out there? Like, I'm taking the car, but how am I going to transport that stuff? I'd imagine they don't exactly give you the ideal transport case when they send it to you in the mail, or however I can find it.
No, they'll just send it to you in a cardboard box with some padding on the inside, and that's about it. I mean, they'll mail it out to you in a good-looking box, but I mean, I'm not sure how durable it would be compared to like a wooden crate.
I mean, other than that, I just carry 6 of them around in an old cardboard piece, which I'm going to need to get a picture of it. Ages back, I have an uncle who's a really, really big Monty Python fan, and Monty Python had made a sort of like joke drink called Holy Ale. It came in a 6-pack flat, and I was told, oh, just throw it out, we don't need it anymore. I was so close to, but I held on to it, and in my hand, I am still holding it. So why not hand out LENINADE from the Monty Python's Holy Ale 6-pack holder? I'll figure something out, but I still can't believe I have this thing.
I love that. I approve. I approve of that so well. My favorite line from Monty Python is, I fought in your central direction. Your mama was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
They call me Tim.
I love that so much. But
your father was a hamster and your mother smelled of elderberries.
No.
So So before we get off track too much, because we're not at the Drunken Stupors yet. So Mecha Flyer and Gary, BabsCon. What were your overall thoughts of the con itself and how it accommodated us, and how it could have been a little bit better? And what did you think of the vendors and all that sort of stuff too?
Well, I was pretty impressed with the vendor hall.
Okay.
Of course, Nan, Baba Discord, she was absolute. Love to work with her in future events.
Oh yeah, she's pretty nice.
The con content was pretty amusing, albeit we didn't really spend too much time doing that because we were running our own shebang. But
Yeah. But,
yeah, if you mean the like the con mascots doing their thing.
yeah, that was actually pretty amusing. I like the fact that there's a lore behind BabsCon. Not too many cons actually have something like that going on.
Yeah, this was year 3 of doing it, and it's always been getting better and better with how they've handled it. I mean, as I understand, this is rumors, so don't quote me on this, but as I understand, with how they indicate at closing ceremonies, BabsCon is going to keep going on as long as they can. As long as BabsCon is going, they will have more and more storyline built up to continue the saga.
well, for one, I'm actually I figured going for our panel. I think the panel, personally, I think it went off great. I do think it could have had a little more interaction, which I will say that it's kind of a bit of a snuff on my part, because I was looking back at the EQLA video, and it was kind of hard to get or the information across, and so I kind of wanted. I did like the audience input, however, I didn't like it in between what we were saying. But
I will say what almost makes it more difficult is when you have so many panelists. Everybody is always trying to put their word in on something, which I can understand. But the more people you have trying to put in your input, the longer a span you really need to be doing it with.
yeah, fun fact is originally we had planned only to have it with be me, Spiral, Gary, and Mecha Flyer, and those were the only ones that were supposed to be on the panel and doing the talking. But Buffershaft, he wanted in on it too, and we were like, "Oh, okay, sure," because with so many people on set, I mean, it made it really hard to
There's
operate
also the
cameras.
problem that we're not just the operating cameras part, but we're trying to input so much information, and at the same time, after a while, it starts coming off like it's a lecture, you know. And I don't want to feel like we're lecturing our audience. I want to be a little more entertaining, which is why I will admit a couple work in progress, but we're working on a few different ideas for multiple panels whenever we get to our next convention, be it BabsCon or wherever else we wind up.
Yeah. For starts, I mean, Parlor Card Podcast. It has a good thing for it. In fact, I might as well just say this now instead of later. Is we are working on a more fluent scheduling, kind of like how AC Race Best and Toodles do theirs on a scheduled basis. Because how Parlor Car started out was with just me and Gary, and then we tried to include Mecha Flyer and Spiral Force and a bunch of other people, and so it was kind of hard to work with their scheduling because of work hours, days, and
well, there was also the problem that we were all doing it in one place. You know, it was having one microphone and all of us sitting in front of it.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, I live about 80 miles away from steam tanks, so it's a little hard to make everything fall into place on a certain schedule.
You're telling me you guys are all on the West Coast. I'm all the way out here in Delaware calling in on the usual Discord chat for all this.
Yeah, and at some point I'll do a behind the scenes video of how I got all the tech set up to do this. It's really interesting actually, but that's for another video and another time. But yeah. But aside from that, it does make everything a lot easier, and we are considering on doing it like at least once, twice a month, like every other Sunday or something like that. So if anything, that schedule should be going out within the month, pretty much. So let's see here. What's the next topic? Anything else we want to put in on BabsCon at all? Or even for next year's BabsCon, if anything?
You mentioned doing a multi-panel thing. You could always try talking with BabsCon planning and see what they say, but for the most part, from what I've seen, usually if it's one group, you do one thing. Like, they need to spread the love around between everybody who wants to do a panel. So if you've got one group trying to do multiple topics, that could get a little tricky. The best I would say otherwise is just try and find an open spot somewhere else and just try and passively pass around, hey, this is where we're going to be just kind of chatting if anybody wants to come and see us. Almost like what happened with the layout setup for all of Saturday.
Well, the layout was in a pretty centralized position. We were up on the top level of the atrium, right by the front windows of the hotel.
Yeah. I don't know. Was it? No, it wasn't included in the con book, huh? It wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Oh, it was.
Yes,
okay.
It actually
It was.
Okay.
It was.
I will admit I'm a little bad. I had not took a single look at the comic book while I was there, because I had just.
For shame.
I had brought it up to the hotel room and I had just left it there. The only thing I actually looked at it for was the time for the panel.
Well, here's a treat for you because I have the BabsCon con book on my lap right now.
Oh wow.
It was also online, for the record, and the one online was constantly updating for the little changes that occurred.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, figure or multiple panel idea. It wouldn't be nothing too extravagant, but I mean, it would entail, like, let's say a live viewing of Parlor Car, and it would include me, 2 computers, and maybe Spiral Force, who's maybe off seeing Big Boy, maybe.
I'd count him for that one.
Yeah.
And that would be funny to live stream him in. That would be amazing.
That was that's my idea. I'm still working on a way on how to get a proper connection, because I do know from talking with Nan that the hotel's internet connection isn't really the greatest. So I don't know what I'd have to do with that, who I'd have to talk to, but I'll work that out in the future. If I have to get like my own little mini hotspot that goes off of data, I will. But yeah. Aside from that, I mean, there was other ones that we were thinking. I think Mecco, didn't you want to do a like a railroad photography panel. I mean, like have it be.
I was throwing the idea around. It might be interesting for people who don't typically go out there and take photos. Give a little tips and tricks on how we get our train footage and all that fun stuff.
Because I kind of like that, because then let's say you can plan a event after the panel. So for instance, like you'd have everybody meet up in the that room for the I keep forgetting it, for from there you have your own list and say, hey, who wants to have a rail fanning experience with the RB? And you have people sign that and say, okay, well, we're gonna be in front of the hotel at this time within the next couple of minutes. Be there, and we will get like a 5-minute leeway, and just go for a walk, and we'll walk down to the station or take a small lift down there or whatever, and we'll spend like an hour or two rail fanning. And I think that would be even more memory wise for whoever might want to go.
The tricky part is with that, a lot of times when people go to a convention, they go to the convention for the convention. Yeah, you'll see some people who will stray out over time. Like, again, I've been there now all 5 years. So a lot of stuff does kind of become repetitive. So it doesn't hurt to be able to stray out and see this, that, or the other thing. But a lot of the people who plan to go to conventions for Pony, they are there for the Pony. I mean, you could always try. There's going to be some people who do walk around, but it's not one of those things that you'd want to be out super, super long for.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be anything long or anything far. It would be somewhere nearby. In fact, even if it would be on the last day, even, because I mean, most of everything really does take place on the first 2 days, and then the third day, and the biggest thing is closing. And as long as you're back before that, yeah.
I will say I believe it was year number 4, a couple of years back, when they were doing part of the whole storyline thing, I was actually out getting a tattoo done up. And when I left, I was thinking, oh man, can I make it back in time? I'm not making it back in time. An hour after the closing ceremonies had ended, I'd missed everything. I was not the happiest camper in the world. I mean, I was still able to catch it online, but yeah, there's a good majority of the people who will go for the closing ceremony. So you definitely don't want to have people missing that necessarily.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I like to see the closing because it brings closure to the event. That's why it's called closing ceremony. And I agree on that. But yeah, I mean it brings a little bit of something else aside from, because let's be honest, in the entire first day, you've probably already seen all the vendors, pretty much, and
which props to that one vendor who had some of the really nice flags and everything, who set up his own small micro layout. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, that one guy who put a little circle, little oval around his desk. Yeah,
I've seen him do that at nearly every other pony convention I've seen him at. He's actually known for doing that.
This is the first year I'd ever seen him at BabsCon.
Yeah, he was actually at my first 2 EQLAs, and I think because of us, he's actually had more
popularity in sales.
In sales, yes, he had more customers going to him because of the trains, and people knew us and stuff, and that goes for a lot of other people as well. In fact, one of our members on here, Benjamin Brony, lives up in the Seattle, Washington area, and along with a couple of other people on here, he figure before he found us, he found it really hard to connect with other bronies because nobody shared similar interests, which was, you know, trains and stuff like that. And then we come around, he finds us, and all of a sudden he's finding rail bronies left and right. So I guess us coming around kind of helped other bronies find, you know, closure with themselves.
Well, we're one of those niche fandoms that, like, we exist. There's a lot of rail bronies out there, but they're kind of not sure how to approach the whole topic. It's like, I'm a train guy, but I'm also a brony. Like to have more ponies in my train fandom, but nobody understands me, or vice versa. You know, hey, we're bronies, but nobody really gets the whole train thing. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute, there's a whole group dedicated to this.
Well, figure the way I see it, it's more or less exactly the way the brony fandom turned out in the beginning when it was starting, how nobody understood it. And it's pretty much the same way with liking the trains and ponies together. Nobody understands it. But if you look at it in a big picture, it makes a lot of sense. More ways than one. But yeah. So aside from maybe our little rail fanning thing as well, I was thinking more something along the lines of maybe like doing like a small type of switching type layout or something, and letting people have experience with the trains up front who never used trains before. And I thought maybe that might be interesting too, like an interactive panel. But yeah, well, they're all things on the books, so we'll see.
That'd probably be a cooler thing to do, depending on if you wanted to do it DC or DCC, is like two ends of a table for two separate switching areas controlled by two different transformers, and just practice shunting cars between the two sides of the layout, like powered on each section, and in the center of the whole yard you have just an unpowered area to separate the tracks that obviously cars that don't transmit electricity can roll over and roll past to the other side with.
Yeah.
All the big
Well, if
plans.
anything, if you want to do shunting, use my Lionel O gauge. Lionel O gauge with my line chief. Uncouple the train remotely, and everything that you can do with DCC, you can do with the wireless remote. So with the O gauge, with the line chief motive, so shunting.
HO does have wireless
little
controllers.
demonstration, or even
Yeah, HO does have wireless controllers.
So you could do that with.
The problem is, I think what Gary is mentioning is the wireless couplers as well, which is a good point. I have never seen an HO scale locomotive with remote activated couplers. That I think they're a little small to try and pull something like that.
There is one brand that has them, and only one brand, and that is MTH.
Yeah.
MTH has HO automatic couplers, but they're only for MTH rolling stock.
And those things are probably jacked in price way higher.
Only problem.
Actually, believe it or not, they're the same type of price as if you were to have bought an Athearn Genesis. Like exactly the same price, except one has different features over the other.
That being said, it would still mean basically the whole yard would need to be consisting of these MTH cars.
Well, the other problem is MTH has a tendency to run on 3-rail track, like Markland trains.
Yeah, I need to try and get some of my ancient 027 Pi Tin 3-rail up and running again, but with that Atlantic still down for the count, God only knows what that is going to need to be done to get her up and running again. kind of limited to my HO stuff. As it is, as we all know, O gauge tends to be a little bit more expensive than HO. Just a little.
Yeah.
Well, maintenance-wise, it's true.
Joe? Yeah, depending.
Okay, so with BabsCon out of the way now, the next topic is projects. So, Ace, what type of projects are you working on? You are working on currently in terms of pony and trains, or both, even.
I've got some that are really big one that's still just in concept stage, planning and concept, just because of the investment that will need to go into it. What's actually set up right now is something that happened a couple weeks ago when I had some family over for a big family reunion. One of my cousins has two young boys, they're age 2 and age 4, and they are both very big train fans. So while they were over during Saturday, seems familiar, this whole story, for about half the day, we were downstairs in the train room, just on this big carpeted area, just setting up the trains and running them. And let me tell you, even my 2-year-old second cousin, even he knew what he was doing, but my 4-year-old cousin's son, he was setting up everything perfectly. He was very careful. And this is with the HO pin connected track. He was very careful with everything. He was setting up all the trains right on the track so carefully. And like my hope was to get the O gauge stuff set up for him, or at least get something working, because, well, those ancient cars are next to indestructible. But we went with the HO stuff, and he did such a fantastic job. That leads into that project, which is with this basement room. It's still mostly unfinished, so I need to get all the drywall up and everything. But the hope is, if I'm still at this place long enough, to get all the table setup done to actually get a railroad built. But for personal reasons, I may or may not be here long enough to see that to completion, unfortunately.
Ah, okay. Well, it's always glad to hear the young ones taking interest into the model trains. It's a very niche thing nowadays with technology, with smartphones and tablets. They rather play the video games of it and not experience it hands on. So that's pretty good that you're able to share that with them.
Well, I was real curious because on Friday, when everybody was starting to funnel in, we were all sitting in the living room and everybody's gathered around. And I told him, "Hey, Clay, Drew, guess what I got?" Brought down the suitcase that still had all the trains in it. Opened it up, and their eyes lit up. Trains! We're pulling them out of the boxes and putting them on the table, the coffee table, as they're going through everything, getting more and more and more excited. Oh my God, it was so good. So nice to see kids at such a young age already looking at this like, yes, this is what I want to do.
That is awesome.
Yeah. The other project for concept, and this one's going to be very expensive and very tricky to do, is to take my motorcycle and basically use a multi GoPro system to essentially make the perfect motorcycle rail fanning, rail chase system. I'm talking like 6 cameras, 2 on the handlebars, 2 pointing out to the side, 2 facing back diagonal, microphone probably behind my back so I can get proper rail sounds rather than that rattly crap you hear from a GoPro. This is way, way down the road because I need to get some stuff finished off on the bike before it. But like everybody does it in a car, why not have it on something a little more nimble and just something that somebody looks at and goes, "What is that? Why would you do that?" Well, why not?
It's funny you should actually mention that, because our buddy Gascar Dupuis, or Grimex, as he also likes to be called, he's very big on the motorcycles, especially Harleys, and he's been wanting to do something like that for for like the better part of 4 years now, and so I mean, unfortunately he's actually moving out of California, and he's going back to his home state, which is Michigan, and so he'll be going there pretty soon, which will be sad for us because we won't see him that much, but you know, everyone has to do what they have to do to survive. I'm all for supporting him with whatever he needs to do. But yeah, I mean, if you're ever in Michigan or something, you can hit him up, and maybe the two of you could probably invent something pretty dang cool for rail fanning.
Well, the tricky part is, especially with motorcycles, a lot of these are one-offs. Like, you can get the general concept out and about, but a lot of these rigs, like, just to go off what I'm seeing, it's going to be a lot of welding, powder coat, paint, whatever, and then probably somewhere, I think I figured it to about $2,000 worth of GoPros.
Oh,
I don't have that money right now. Nobody does for that kind of a full wraparound system.
Yeah, not to mention just the microphone you're gonna need too, and the auxiliary battery system too, which you might have to set up in like a rear saddlebag or something.
Well, what's curious is my bike has the back seat on it. So in theory, between the hard saddlebags that I'm going to be putting on the bike, as well as a box that I could strap to the rear seat, I should be able to host and hold properly all extra electronics needed. Batteries, extra storage space, although I'd probably just get massive SD cards for that. But in theory, everything can be self-contained. In practice, that's where it's going to get interesting.
Yeah. There's actually a project that I've been trying to implement, actually, is there's this device, it's called Webcaster X2 by Epiphan. And pretty much what it is, it's an Android-based operating system, and it only does one of two things: live streams to YouTube and live streams to Facebook. However, there are ways to get it to where you can also do Twitch and stuff like that. But what I really want to do is I want to get it set up in my 64C20, and through a little external computer system, is live stream the UP 4014 chase that's going to take place in the next year or so, from Wyoming to California. And the idea is to head it off in like Utah somewhere and chase it back here. But I wanted to live stream that, like in the thick of the moment. And it's like a $300 unit, but it's like so small. It's like the size of two iPhone 6S's side by side. So it's pretty tiny, and it runs off of like USB power. And yeah.
Sounds like everybody wants to do more hardcore live rail fanning, and I have no problems against that. That's probably one of the easiest, least expensive, if you've got an iPhone or something, least expensive, just passive ways to just try and get into railroading in a simple little way.
Well, figure with that device, it's more or less you hook up HDMI up to it, to your camera, and you mount the camera somewhere, and it just live streams like that. It has the option to hook up two different cameras, and you can switch them with a switch between one or two or both at the same time. So you can film yourself in a first-person view, or you could go for the third-person view and film out on the road or whatever you're trying to do.
Or you could pull a Shia LaBeouf and just have a single camera pointed at you as you're doing everything.
Yeah, that too. More of what the
Actual
sort of
cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, let's go with that. But more or less what this method would be used for would be for the in the works on the drawing board, RRB High Octane is being able to film in car, on the go, constantly, and being able to record to an external source without needing like all that junk, in the cab or wherever you are. So yeah, hopefully that could get going pretty soon. But again, funding is a big thing. Gary, I know you've brought this up, and I know a lot of other this up is, are we going to be selling t-shirts and other sort of merch in the future? What is your take on that?
Yes, I want to start doing that. When? Oh. Selling t-shirts into this, and a place where we can sell not just t-shirts but railroad brony merchandise. Train shows, you know, the Great American Train Show.
Yeah, that would be
a
interesting.
Spot at a small, yeah, rate to buy a table. And let me see, is $65 to $75 per table. $107 if you want to. So it's not that much to actually sell your stuff, and you do not need a license to sell your stuff at the train show.
Yeah.
The table things.
Yeah, but I think you do need a license. Oops, sorry.
It depends on what city you're in.
Yeah, I think you do need a license, however, if you're going to be selling via like Square or something like that, doing processing credit cards, because then you have to do taxes. If you do cash, then it's more under the table, if anything else.
Yeah, but if you don't do credit cards and stuff, then nobody pays attention to you.
That is also true.
But yeah, I'd like to do more merch stuff. You know, I've been wanting to do more t-shirts and maybe some hats and lapel pins, and, you know, threw out the idea of challenge coins, although those are kind of pricey and tricky to make.
I
But
know
I've had a
for
few different ideas.
I know for a fact Ace wants a shirt really bad.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of hard for me to stick out to
Yeah.
everybody while I'm at BronyCon. Hey, yeah, I'm a representative of the Railroad Bronies. Really? What's your proof? I have business cards.
Yeah. So we need to get on that. I figure isn't BronyCon like literally next week? Or when?
It's at the end of July, so I got about 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay. Well, I'll see if I can get a
Nice t-shirt do you wear?
Yeah, we'll see if we can get one out to you.
Large.
Large. Okay. Yeah. I'll definitely pitch a couple of bucks to get that shirt made for you.
Sweet.
That's gonna be fun to make.
You saw this. Wait, are you trying to do something to match my ridiculous figure?
Wait, what?
I'll have a mustache on the back of your t-shirt above the logo. How's that?
No, that's Dusty Cat's thing.
You
Make the train wear a cowboy hat.
Goatee.
Oh God, what have I started?
I asked for the t-shirt, so I don't know.
You know what? Here's what we're gonna put 55-50 on it.
55-50 on it. Meaning you're crazy?
No, I'm a hopeful and a dreamer, which that's going to be another project I'm keeping an eye on. And I said it before, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I don't care what's going on. When she's getting unveiled, I am there. Like you say, Spiral, and I see that Spiral is a really big fan of 4014. Move over. You have no idea what I will do to get to that beautiful girl who is bound to set world records.
We need to get Big Boy and and your locomotive in one place, and we need to have a one-way hallway for one person to get through, and have the two of you do a sprint toward it. Who will survive?
You're talking to a guy who works blue collar 6 to 7 days a week. I will outrun anything in work boots.
But Carlo has a deep fryer. Well, Spiral. Spiral has a deep fryer.
Yeah.
So I have an even bigger advantage.
That's like the guy in Star Wars running with the ice cream maker. But yeah, we'll get a shirt out to you. I do know for a fact I need a new shirt. I'm not sure how mine got so roughed up like that. It was weird because I turned it inside out, and I took my coat and I put the shirt along with my roadkill shirt also inside out into my jacket and tied my jacket in a ball and threw it in the dryer. And even that wasn't enough to prevent it from doing what it did.
So it sounds like we do that, or we all just get tattoos on our back or our shoulder or something for RRB.
Well, we're going to be checking out another
If we look at a tattoo on this
place, apparently, so I'll be the guinea pig.
Who's the guinea pig?
Yeah, me. Anyway, so it is.
I don't know who Will is.
We're at about an hour and a half in. I'd say it's about Drunken Stupors time. So I guess that does it for most of the topics. And before we start that, in the comments below, once this is on YouTube converted and everything, whatever YouTube has to do on their end to get it published, is check out the comments below in the coming days. You will find a link to a Google Doc which will have a schedule for the next coming podcasts. We will also see if we can try to get it on our Twitter, Facebook, and Steam group if everyone still uses that. Anyway, so with that, Drunken Supers time. Here we go.
Yeah.
Cracking open the fireball.
I don't know about that, but I kind of just killed off a nos right now, so I think I'm pretty good.
I'm about 3 cactus coolers in.
Jesus, man. I'm. You gotta share. What the hell?
Wow.
What?
Okay, I will admit that was kind of freaky. I thought that was Dante from the Inferno trying to talk to me right there. From Devil May Cry. I'm like, okay. But yeah. So it's actually been quite a while since we've seen each other. So what's everyone actually up to? How's life treating you?
I've been busting my butt working 6, 7 days a week frequently, but that's why I love my job. I kill myself more and more, especially now since it's been, I think today was like 95 degrees and 90% humidity outside. Inside a workshop with heavy machines running, I wanted to die.
Oh man, I figure Anime Expo is literally in the next couple days. I haven't been to Anime Expo in like 2 years, and so I don't know what to expect this time around because I remember it used to be LineCon Central, and it's supposed to be in the upper 90s, and so far it's been in the low mid 80s throughout the past couple of weeks, especially since the volcanic eruption in Hawaii. It's caused a very cool front down here in LA, starting to heat back up again.
Yeah, it's coming back around, but LineCon, as far as AX is concerned, I don't think it's going to be that bad because they got clever and decided to mail out most of the badges this year. So anybody who bought their badge before June 13th or June 18th, sorry, was eligible to get their badge mailed to their residence.
Now, there is something about that mailing thing that kind of ticks me off, is because if you look in the frequently asked questions section on Anime Expo's website, it says that if you order your badge before June 31st, they'll mail it out to you.
That's strange because they purposely cut it off at the 18th because they had no way of verifying that it would get to you on time after June 18th.
Yeah, but I mean, it literally says it on their website. Yeah, it'll be mailed to you as long as it's within the like for instance, if you're local, like me being in LA, I would imagine they would ship it to you in LA. You'll get it within the next 2 days. Especially
Yeah, but
since
what
it's a
if you live
lightweight
in like
parcel.
New York or say you live in Great Britain or something and you want to go and you're planning your flight and everything and you buy your ticket last minute and they've got to send that thing international, it's not going to
Well,
get very far by the time you actually wind up having to come.
I think, well, yeah, in that case, I think it would be more or less like area code and address based if they did it that way.
But they can't discriminate. That's the thing.
No, they can't. But then again, distance does play a big issue. I do know for a fact with whatchamacallit. Here's a good example. Disneyland, okay? Let's say you're a Southern California resident, okay? You get, I think, 20% off of park admission. Anyone who's outside of Southern California doesn't.
That sadly extends to a lot of different things, including stuff like college tuitions and stuff like that. If you live in the state that the college resides in and it's a public college, like for instance UCLA or the Cal State University, whatever, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Those the UU
Yeah, but
California resident. But if you're coming from another state, then you have to pay more money.
Yeah, but I still think they could still send badges out in the mail, especially if, let's say, you ordered like 6 days in advance to day 0. I still think they would have had more than enough time, as opposed to cutting it off like 2 weeks ahead of time. Because it especially with people who are nearby. I've seen it with other cons too. In fact, I do know for a fact that Comic-Con, they'll mail as many badges out as possible.
Yeah, but look at the turnout for Comic-Con. Like they have ridiculous setups just to try to maintain a reasonable attendance without overloading themselves.
Yeah, but Anime Expo is the same way. It's about as big as Comic-Con in terms of people-wise, as opposed to an actual scale-wise. I mean, you go to Anime Expo, there is like a ton of people in the main, what is it, the West Hall, pretty much. There's like a ton of people right at opening ceremony. I mean, like, it's so packed. It's like Stampede Central down there. So, I mean, generally over every year, they go over the amount of people. So I think they should really do what Comic-Con does in terms of controlling cap-wise.
You mean doing a lottery system that drives everybody up a wall?
Not a lottery system, but more or less like limited availability. So,
well, it's one thing to have limited availability, but Comic-Con goes into a whole lottery system where you can't even really plan for it because you have no idea that you're going until you're going, basically.
yeah. I figure E3, okay? E3 just recently, as of last year, started accepting the public into E3. Before it was just industry people. Now it's gamers. And they have a pass for game. They have three what's the word I'm looking for? 3 quarters throughout the beginning of the year to get a pass. And within each quarter, it goes up the closer it goes. So in the beginning of the year, it's like $125. And then the next month it goes to like $220. And then the next month it goes to like $350. And then at the door it's like $1,000. But if you get it in a timely manner, there's like, let's say for between their quarters, they got, okay, 20 in the first quarter, another 20 in the next quarter, and a 20 in the final quarter. And I think if they did something like that, I mean, they could probably control the attendance-wise a lot better, because once they sell out, they sell out. And cap-wise, I think that would be, like, overall the best.
Yeah, they could put caps on it.
But yeah, I think that would probably be the best course of action in terms of controlling population-wise for the con. I don't know if you know this, but there's actually somebody who I met back at EQLA who's actually going to Anime Expo this year. I think it's his first AX, actually, and which is Jaxblade. Jaxblade's going to AX this year.
I'll be honest, I am not surprised at all by that.
Yeah. Figure that I was actually messaging him like a month ago that there's this place that serves French dip sandwiches in LA, which out of all of them, there's only 2 that claim to be the original place. And there's Cole's, and then there's Philippe's. Philippe's is by Union Station, and I believe Cole's was they're right along one of the red car old street right-of-ways, which I have yet to go there, but I was gonna actually take him to Philippe's and show him it, because he was actually really interested.
I think I remember you telling me about that night at the bar.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, so I was gonna take him there, assuming if he hasn't forgotten. But yeah, and speaking of cons and stuff, there's this. Okay, so apparently what Bandai is doing right now is they have this thing called Dragon Ball World Tour. And pretty much it's in several cities around the United States, going to 7. So far, only 6 of them have been announced. and the 7th is a mystery. One of which is San Diego Comic-Con. And I thought it was supposed to be a regular event that you would buy a separate ticket to. No, you have to have a Comic-Con ticket to go to it. And that kind of cheesed me off to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to AX. The hell with Comic-Con. Because Comic-Con's expensive, like beyond expensive. But they were supposed to have all sorts of things there. They were supposed to have like really high detail show accurate figures. To like I think rumor has it the final tour, the final location. But I'm not sure how true that is. And I really wanted Akira Toriyama to sign my Dragon Ball Z bag that I used to carry back in high school. I only have 2 other signatures on it. I have Ashley Balls and I got Jax Blades.
Team Krillin.
Team 3-star! But yeah. So, Mecca, how about you? What's you up to?
I've been doing here and there different little house chores. Got another painting hung up on the wall in my mom's room. Switched around some racks in the bathroom to hang towels on.
Oh, okay. So you're doing a lot of home type stuff lately.
Yeah, domestic improvements, you know.
Yeah.
And going to work.
Yeah. Oh yeah, didn't you start Uber Eats?
Not yet. I did technically sign up for it, but I haven't really had time to follow through with anything yet.
Oh man. Yeah, when we were at Babs, I had gotten the notification for Amazon Flex, but I kind of let it slide, and now I'm on the waiting list again. But yeah. As for me, you know, I'm not sure if many people know this, but I've actually busted my hand like a few weeks back when I was doing some work for EA Play, and I've been home for like the past like 3 weeks since EA, and so in that whole time span, I've been like being driven up the wall by this thing. So how most people would probably do what the doctor says and say, "Oh no, don't use your hand, don't do this, don't do that. Just keep it on top of this and ice it." I haven't iced it once. Haven't had the need to. All I did was take pain pills and just been gluing electrical conduit pipe together, pulling Ethernet lines, and busting drywall open.
There's something really satisfying about punching through drywall, isn't there?
Yes.
I still remember New York when I used to live up there. We were renovating a 200-year-old house that we were living in for 12 years. So one room we say, okay, let's take down the wall so we can get this next area ready to go. It didn't take me 2 seconds to realize, oh, this wall needs to go down, the drywall needs to go out. Boom! Right through the wall.
Yeah.
And nobody cared. The wall needed to come down. Just, what next?
Well, as you probably may have heard, maybe if you've been looking on Twitter recently, I recently upgraded from copper internet to fiber. And right now I'm still running on my old Cat 5e lines. And I went out and I bought a 1,000-foot spool of Cat 7a internet lines that I am actually running through the house slowly. and if you've ever seen the comparison between Cat 5 and Cat 7A, it's like Cat 5 doubled. It, like completely doubled. It's that different. And so yeah, so I've been doing that the past time. So yeah, can't wait to get this restriction off my arm.
Well, in the meantime, what you do have is my brother found out when he did the brilliant thing back in high school and punched a locker, broke his right ring finger and pinky finger. You have a built-in hammer.
I know, yeah, you got a built-in hammer to an extent, mind you. You don't want to use nothing pin-sized, just flat-headed nails and with a thin nail, perfect for hanging pictures.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I'm angry at this table. I'm gonna chop it in half.
But yeah, I have been using my left hand a lot more than my right now, and it's I figure when I was younger I used to be ambidextrous, but then my teachers in school just like harangued me to use my right only, and which was kind of sad because I used to be more left-handed than I am right-handed, and now I'm starting to go back to left-handed. It's been proven to be a big pain in the butt. Because there's many things I'm not used to. I'm not used to opening doors with my left hand. So even though I should be using my left hand to open the door, I've been trying to open the door with the right hand. And when I go to twist, it's like, can't move my arm all the way to open the door. So I got to switch, and it's annoying.
Yeah, I know how that feeling is at work because of a specific motion I've had. It happened back in September and flared up a couple weeks again. Repetitive motion injury from my left wrist twisting to activate this one knob on a machine. And it's at a little bit of a distance, so my arm is at full extent twisting this thing. Oh, man. It sucked the first time. I almost ended up, because I was working for a temp agency at that point, I almost ended up getting moved to an entire different job, an entire different location. But I said, no. Just let me go to the doctor. Let me get the pain pills and get back to work. Are you sure? Yes. So thank God I was able to keep going. But yeah, I understand what that kind of pain is like.
Yeah. It's just it's not something that I'm like figure when it happened. It wasn't something like ouch, what happened. It was more or less like a figure I've broken enough bones to be like, okay, what happened now? Looking at it, okay, doctor. Figure like I busted my foot twice. I busted my hand 2 times. This marks the 3rd time on the same hand.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. I figure the second time I busted my foot, I had 20 tons of steel roll over it.
Oh, Jesus, what was it?
So I do a lot of stage work. So and we have a lot of modular stages that come in on trucks, and you have to put them together. And these things are made of steel, and the carts that come in are made of steel, and they stack it like 20 high. And so this, and each one weighs, weighs like a lot. I mean, you can't lift one up by yourself. It needs like 4 people just to lift it up and stack it. And I had like 20 of these stacked up on a single steel cart with wheels about as big as a grapefruit. Just roll right over my foot. And so ever since then, it's like more of a nuisance than a pain. I even drove myself to the hospital when that happened.
Man, it kind of reminds me of the time I did stupid on a GoPed scooter. second day of owning this thing, a trail ripper, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna be hot shit, and I'm gonna do a little gravel jump. First time it worked. Second time, front wheel dug in. I slammed into the handlebars, and the engine on the back followed my head. 6 staples on the top of my head. But the biggest problem was there was nobody else around, and I wasn't wearing a helmet. The biggest mistake I've ever made in my life in terms of safety. So the thing dies. The air intake actually broke off on my head. The intake manifold shattered when it impacted my skull. So I get up because first I feel this thing slam into my head. My face smashed into the ground. At first I feel my teeth thinking, oh my God, did I shatter my teeth? No, my teeth are good. The GoPed in the truck, and the whole way I'm thinking, calm people live, panic people die. Calm people live, panic people die. Fortunately, the emergency room was all 2 minutes down the road. I got so lucky on that incident. I walk into the doors like, I've got a little problem. They immediately rushed me in, did the MRI scan to make sure I didn't shatter my skull, put me in for the staples in the back of my head, and best of all, was going to call home. Phone was dead. Parents were not happy about that.
Oh, wow. Well, thank God you're okay.
Well, mostly. I mean, you could see how I am if BabsCon was anything to go by.
Oh, well, I mean, as long as you're walking and talking, that's all that matters.
Couple rivets short of a fully safe boiler.
Oh, man. All right, well, I think that kind of does it for this podcast. I mean, it's a little different compared to normal.
Yeah.
But
we've run up about an hour and 50 minutes. I think that's a good runtime.
Yeah, that's a good runtime. Anyway, so with that said, this has been the RRB podcast. And if you're viewing this through later on after the live has been done within the coming days, if you liked it, give it a like. If you didn't like it and you thought it sucked, well, you know what you know what to do with that one. You guys knew that so well. If not, get liked, get subscribed, share this video, or not even a video. It's a podcast.
So don't forget to ring the bell if you want notifications for all the next Railroad Bronies videos on our channel. We do have some fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely click that bell, get notified, and leave a comment below, and maybe suggest something for us to do, because please do. We need some ideas.
Yeah, be sure to hit that little bell, like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.
All right.